Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So guys, right now we are going to talk about the next lecture, the demographic trends. So in this lecture, what are the important points? First one is the demographic variables, which includes the only five demographic variables which are important. First one is the fertility, then mortality, then marriage rates, then migration rates, which includes the immigration and the emigration, and the last one is the social migration. So after that, the annual growth rate is also quite important point. What is the annual growth rate? Having the formula birth rate minus death rate by 10. So guys, if the annual growth rate is less than 0.5%, then the population is slow growing. Likewise, the moderate growing, rapid growing, and the very rapid growing. The most important point is that the explosive growing means if the annual growth rate of the population is more than 2%, then the population is explosive growing. So it occurs in the developing countries. Uh, and many PYQs are asked on the that annual growth rate. So it is important to note that these points can come in the can be asked into the examples or the sums in the numerical examples. So you should remember that data. Also, there is also Malthusian growth model. Means if there is a annual growth rate of the 1%, then this population will take 70 years for the doubling the number of the population. Then, likewise, if we double the annual growth rate, then it will half the time required for the population to double. Means if the annual growth rate is increased by the 100%, then the time also get half. Means for the 1% of the annual growth rate, it takes 70 years. Then for the 2% of the annual growth, it will take only half of the 70 years, which is the 35 years. Likewise, the if we half the annual growth rate, then it will take more time. Means it will take the 140 years to double the population, and likewise 1.5 it will come like 47 years. Another one important point is the age pyramids. Only in that age pyramids, the x-axis denotes the population in millions and the y-axis denotes the age group, and which means if the height means that kind of the vertical y-axis is more or the more in the length, then it will denotes the life expectancy. Means the more number of the bars will be there, which means the 80 plus 90 plus or 100 plus, that kind of life expectancy we can imagine in that population. So the more the height, more the life expectancy. So it is an important point. So guys, coming on the next page, there is a classification based on the developing or the developed countries, also on the based on the shape of the age pyramid. So based on the developing versus developed countries, there are the in developing countries we can imagine the age pyramids of the broad base due to the higher fertility rates, whereas in the developed countries there is a broad valley kind of the age pyramids due to lower fertility rate. So you can see here, guys, the white part denoting the pre-reproductive, yellow part denoting the reproductive, whereas the green part is denoting the post-reproductive age group. Also, if we talk about the shape of the age pyramids, then there are three types of the age pyramids based on the shape. First one is the triangular shaped, second one is the bell shaped, third one is the urn shaped. So if we talk about the triangular shape, there is a high increase in the birth rate, and so that the population is increasing or the growing population is there. And if we talk about the bell shape, in that kind of population, the birth rates are keep on increasing and the death rate are decreasing. So this condition maintains the population stable. So if we talk about the urn shaped, in that population, the birth rates are the less than or the equals to the death rate, so that the population is declining in nature. So guys, you can see that the actual shapes of the age pyramids. So let's coming on the next page. There is one point: demographic gift, liability, and the dependency ratio. So actually, what is the demographic gift? So actually, when the portion of the working age population, which is in between 15 to 64 years, is higher than the dependent population, which includes children's and the elderly population. So due to that, the population is in the advantage of the larger workforce and higher productivity. Also, it that kind of population with the demographic gift gives the faster economic growth. Also, lead to the more saving and the more investment if possible. So, for example, our India is currently in the phase of demographic we call demographic gift, which is also known as demographic bonus or the demographic dividend, which lead to in decreased dependency ratio. We will talk about the what is the dependency ratio. So if we talk about the demographic liability, so it is quite paradoxically, not paradoxically, it is quite opposite or the reciprocate to the demographic gift. Actually, in the demographic liability, when the proportion of a dependent population, which includes children's or the age group more than the 65 years, is higher than the working age population, which means the population is having with the disadvantage, if we call that the producing peoples are not peoples, people, the few producing people and more dependence on them. So it will lead to the more economic burden on that country, also lead to the higher expenditure on the healthcare or education and social security, because the children's and the older age group are requiring more healthcare services, and children requires more education. Also, the old age group having the social security issues, so that there is a major disadvantage of the that kind of the population, in which the dependent population is higher than the working age population. So the population is quite elderly, and it occurs due to low birth rate and yeah, low birth rate. And, this occurs in the stage of a demographic cycle, stage 5, which is the declining phase of the demographic cycle. So there are the two age groups are given. First one is the India, which is triangular in shape, which denotes the developing population, developing country, and showing the growth or growth of the population. Also, there is another one population given is the China, which is showing the urn shape or not urn. It is showing the bell-shaped kind of the age pyramids or the age group. So it denotes the stable kind of the population. So if we talk about, we have talked about the demographic gift, which is also known as demographic bonus or the dividend, leads to the decreased dependency ratio. It is in the plus. Or the what is the actually the dependency ratio? The dependency ratio, it actually measures the burden of a dependence on the working age population, having the formula of the age group less than 14 years of the age and more than the 65 years, divided by the age of the 15 to 64 years, which is the working age population, multiplied by 100. So what we will get after depending on the dependency ratio. So if the what we call the ratio is high, if the ratio is high, then the population will be having the more burden and also the fewer workers, right? Yeah. And if the dependency ratio comes out the low, then it is having the more workers and having the economic advantage. Yes. So guys, it denotes the burden of dependence on the working age population. Means if the numerator is more, then the population is having the more burden on the working population. And if it is low, means there is a more working population, so that the overall the ratio is coming low, which is the beneficial or the advantageous um, uh, aspect of the population. Yeah, if we talk about the dependency ratio in India, it's in younger age is 38.9, and in old age it is 9.7%. And if we talk about the total, then it is 48.6%, which is quite good, but not the best. So, guys, that's was from the second lecture. We will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much.